So let's get started then. So what Canva is it's a graphic design platform. It's completely online. You access it through a web browser, and you can use it to create social media graphics, presentations, posters, documents, and other visual content like that. You can even do some video content like that, though we will not be going into video at all during this class. The app includes templates for users you can use. It is free to use, but there are paid subscriptions like Canva Pro and Canva for Enterprises, which have additional functions in them, access to more templates, fonts, pictures, that kind of stuff. But the free version is pretty robust, so even if you don't pay for it, you have access to a fairly nice set of tools. Okay then, so let's get over and take a look at Canva. So here is the Canva, the main screen. This is where you would go, what you'll see when you sign into Canva. Again, that's at canva.com. And if you don't have an account, you would create an account. And here you would have here all the different kinds of things you can design. So you see here presentations, social media, video, print products, marketing, because those are like big categories. And then underneath them, you can see here we have presentations, social media, print products, business cards, even, images for clothing, mugs, all that kind of stuff you can create using Canva. Okay, so we're going to start with a fairly simple thing. We're going to start with a birthday party invitation. So let's get started with that. Okay, so usually the typical easiest way to find something is just go up here to the search box and type in what you want to create. So I want to do a birthday invitation. And here we have some different kinds of invitations you can create. And you can see here, typically these are the templates. So you see you have 18s, you have ones that are designed for kids, first birthday, 22nd birthday, and you can customize all the elements on any one of these invitations once you get them. So you can change the fonts, you can change the text, you can change all that. Notice as I move my mouse pointer over them, most of them are saying that they're free. I'm trying to see if I can find one that's paid here. Not really having much luck though. But if you came up one that said Pro, that would be, you'd have to have the Pro subscription in order to use that. But as you can see here, there's plenty of options for free ones. Now, let's say we want to narrow this down a little bit, because right now you can see here we have over 1,000 different designs just on birthday themes. You can choose styles. And what some of these elements mean. Like if we say cute, here's what the kind of invitations we're going to get. And if we wouldn't say we want a vintage one, you're going to get different kinds of designs. Okay, so yes, you can narrow them down on style. A lot of different options there. If you have a particular set of colors you're looking for, you can choose that. So let's say we're looking for red ones. You can do that, or blue. Oops, not a lot of those. So there's a lot of different options here. You can even click on create a blank one and work with that. I'm going to get rid of this, go with all colors. Oops. You had a specific color in mind, you could even do that. I'm going to get rid of that so we can see them all again. And for our invitation, I am going to use this template here. Okay, so now I've opened up this template and I can now choose to make different changes to this particular invitation. So we can start here. I want to change out this picture to the picture of the birthday boy for my invitation. And I've already uploaded the picture I want to use for this. So what I'm going to do is, first thing, I'm going to detach the image to get it out of the frame and delete it. And then I'm going to go to my uploads and I'm going to find the picture I want to use and drag it into place. Okay, that easy. Just find it, drag it into place, it goes right into it. Next, I'm going to be changing my text down here. So I'm just going to click there and type in my new text. And we'll be changing the date here. Oops. It's getting kind of hard to see, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see better what I'm doing. I just do that down at the bottom here. There's a little bar, and as you drag it, it'll zoom in and out to let you see more closely what's going on with the image. Okay, so here I'm going to just click in here. I'm going to change that text and say it's going to be September 13th, 2021 at 4 p.m. And then here, changing the new address. So if you find a template that you like and you don't want to fuss around with the fonts, the colors and everything, you can have this done in 5-10 minutes. You can have an invitation ready to go. So that's how simple Canva can be to use. Now, once you've created your design, you would then decide how you want to do with it. So if you go up here, now everything's saved automatically, so you don't have to worry about saving anything. You can then choose what you want to do with it. So you can download it. You have different file types you can use, like a PNG, a JPEG, a PDF. It would depend a lot on what you're planning to do with it. So if you're going to just say, send this invitation picture out through email, you might want to use a PNG. If you do want to get it printed out, if you're going to print it out and hand it out, you might want to use the PDF print quality. So that's a couple different ways you can download it. You can even, get rid of this menu, click on these 3 stars here. I think there's options you have here that you can go through Canva to have it printed up for you professionally. So if you wanted cards, you could do that there, or postcards there. I'm not going to go into what would be involved in there. Typically, you would send the design, they would create it and ship it back to you, but know that this is an option that you can have anything you created in Canva professionally printed right from the app. You don't have to go through any extra steps. Okay, so that's a very basic overview. Does anyone have any questions before I move on to starting a publication from scratch? Remember, if you have a question, just raise your hand. Okay, Maria, what's your question?
Do you mind if you can just, like you said, we can save it as a .png file if we wanted to send this invitation via email. Do you mind if you can just show how it's going to look like?
Sure, you would just, so if that case, you would download it as a PNG. It's downloading now. Didn't tell me where it's downloading.
And this is saved in the Google iCloud too?
No, it's sorry. Where it saves is going to depend on your browser. So if you have, say, like Drive for Desktop set up, then you could save it to straight to the iCloud. I'm not doing that. I'm saving it to the computer. But
okay.
If you had like Drive for Desktop, you could do it that way. They have some Google Drive in integration, but I've never tried it for saving files. I've only used it to access files I already have on my Google Drive. So to get pictures or something from that is the only way I've used that. So I don't know that you can save directly to it.
I was just curious because I do see in the menu bar there that as you said earlier, all changes are saved automatically.
Yeah,
I'm just curious, where do you define it first? Where are you going to save it?
They're saving it to your Canva account.
Oh, I see.
Yes, okay. So you sign up for an account with this, and then anything you do would be saved to it. Okay. Now, let me see if I can. I'm signed into an account here. Okay, yes, I am. So if I wanted, can you see my Gmail?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was make sure the screen share is working for it. So if I wanted to then send this to, I'm going to send it to myself. And then I wanted to like put it in here. So this is Gmail, and you can insert photos a couple different ways in Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go here, go to upload. Now I've got to figure out where they put it. Let's see. Probably in pictures. Or is it in downloads? Yeah, there it is.
Downloads. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it's popping it into the invitation like this. And then you can just, so this is with, yeah, so this is with Gmail. Other email services might work a little differently how you can do it, but this is one way you could do it. So you can, then you would just click on send and it would go to whoever you sent it to.
Wait, did you click on insert like an
Yeah.
attachment?
Like, this is
As an
a Gmail,
attachment, right?
yeah, this is a Gmail thing. I didn't use
Yeah.
the attachment. I used here, they have an insert photo option, which is a little
okay.
different than the attachment.
Got
It
it.
lets you, you can use this if you want to insert a photo as an attachment,
Mm-hmm.
but it also lets you insert it in the email itself, so you don't have the extra
Got it.
attachment part where they have to download it and everything. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so let's go back to Canva. I am going to, so I'm finished with this one. I'm going to go back to the home screen. And this time I am going to be doing a blank 8.5 inch by 11 flyer. So I'm going to go up here to the custom size. And I'm just going to put in here, I wanted 8.5 and then 11. This is going for pixels. I'm going to change it over to inches. And it did something weird. It converted from pixels to inches. Okay. So yeah, so I'm going to use this to create an 8.5 by 11 inch flyer. So here we have our screen here. This is just this one page here that we can put elements onto. And we're getting some options over here for templates. We can pick different kinds of flyers. So lost dog flyers, business flyers, event flyers. So you could go with one of these, or you could do one completely from scratch. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go back to my uploads, where I've again stashed some pictures. And this is the one I want to use for this flyer. And I'm just going to drag this over here and drop it on the flyer. I'm just going to adjust the size of this a little bit because I don't want to fill in the entire page, but I do want to get it a little bit bigger. So now that is going to be sort of the base image of my flyer. So I have this picture right here on the page. And then I can add the other elements I want to add to the flyer. So I'm going to be adding I'm going to be adding a box up top. So it's just going to be a solid color just so I can add some text to this that'll stand out. So if you try to put too much text in a picture like that, you can't really see it very clearly. So I'm going to go up here to elements. And here's where you can find a couple of different things. So they have graphics, photos, videos, and obviously not, video or audio is obviously not in play for a flyer, charts, frames. There's a couple different things you can add here. And whatever you see here, you'll see some symbols here or some basic ideas here. If you go to see all, you'll be able to see more options for whatever it is you're looking for. And typically there is a lot of stuff in here. So you might find yourself scrolling a lot when you're going into it. For the most part, I don't tend to use Canva a lot from scratch. I tend to usually pull a design and customize it. But I just wanted to make sure you know that you can start from scratch and use parts of theirs to create your own design. So now I'm going to put in a little box. I just want this box to be a solid color. And here's where you can have, this is just sort of an interesting place about color. So I'm not leaving this box as color blue because it doesn't look quite right. I can then look here where it says color. And there's a couple different places. Like, so here's this colors from your logo. That's generally speaking, if you're using this for personal use, that would not apply to you. You have photo colors, which it's looking at the picture and it's pulling out colors from that photo and suggesting them as colors you can use to include in your publication. And then you have some default colors down here. So these are just sort of basic colors you can use as well. I'm actually going to, I think, use this color. Yeah, it looks good. That gray that they're pulling from the photo. And I'm going to resize this box a little bit. I want it to be more of a rectangle up here at the top. Good. Okay. And you might notice as I'm pulling things around the screen, you're seeing little lines. That's to help you line up elements on your publication. So for example, right now we have this purple line that's right in the middle. That's telling me that I do have my box currently centered. If I move it to either side, notice that line will disappear. So those lines are there to help you position elements of your flyer so they're in the right location. Okay, so now I have this little box up here on my flyer. I now want to add some text to it. And here you go from text. Again, they're giving you some fancy options down here that you can use. I'm going to stick to something fairly simple here. So I want to add a heading. And so now it's going to be the box and the text. I can change the font up here. And there's a lot of fonts. The first set we're going through here are just so we go through a set alphabetically, that's the popular. Then you get into all the rest of them. So yeah, there's a ton of fonts in here. So if you don't know what you're looking for, you could really be here for a while looking for the right font. I picked a particular font for this called Bison I'm going to be using. And I'm going to just move that text box up here. And I'm going to change the text to what I want it to be. The size of that's a little too big, so I'm going to make it a little smaller. And I think I'm actually going to change the color from the black to white, because I think that white's going to show up more. Okay. So now I'm also going to add a subheading. It's going to go underneath. Again, I'm going to change my font to my Bison. And then I'm going to add a subheading, which is going to be Tuesday, August. I don't remember the date, but I'm just going to put in 23rd at 7 p.m. Okay, so now I've added 2 pieces of text to my flyer. We're going to add one more piece of information to this flyer. And that is a QR code that people can scan with their phones. And then they can get more information. It'll take them to a website and it'll give them more information on a particular event or something like that. So what I'm going to do here is go to the QR code. And what it wants me here is it wants to put the URL I want to link to. So in this specific case, I'm going to be using, I'm just going to do a link to the library page, but whatever you wanted it to be, you would then copy that URL, bring it here, and say generate code. And now it's created this little QR code here. I can resize it and move that around and place it on my flyer. Okay, so has anyone used QR codes? Are you familiar with them? You can just raise your hand if you have any questions on them. But they're very nice. The person can just look at a cell phone and it'll take them right to a URL. Yeah, Maria, what's your question? Okay, so yeah, so this is basically what you do. You can pick a picture, stick some text on it, and you got a flyer ready to go. And again, same thing happens here. You can just print it out, have it published, whatever works best for you. Okay. So last thing I'm going to be doing is we're going to be doing a presentation. So this is another alternative to PowerPoint you have. So this lets you create presentations much like you would in PowerPoint, or we've also done in Google Slides. In fact, we're going to be creating the same presentation. So let's go and get started on that. Going back to the home screen, and I'm going to presentations here. And there's a couple different options you have here. I'm just going to go right to here at standard presentation. So you could even do them where you were talking if you wanted to, but we're going to go with the standard, just the slides. Okay, and now we have these different kinds of templates that we can use here. And they're different kinds. They're sort of organized based on the kind of presentation you're thinking of doing. And so there's creative ones, there's animated, startups, business, technology, or architecture. So lots and lots of different options here, cool ones. So depending on what you're trying to do with your presentation, like you can even do church presentations, you can find something here that matches what you want your presentation to look like. So I'm just going to go here to the For You, See All. And this is just giving some different options of presentations that you can use. Let's see, which one do I want to use here? I'm actually going to go back. Let's do dark. Okay. All right, so this, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use this investor update because I think it's going to have all the different kinds of slides I have. Notice here it's saying Pro. So this is one of those presentation templates you'd only get if you were using, actually I see an element that's not going to work for that. I'm going to switch over to this one. So this is the Pro one. And what that means is this is one of those you'd have to pay for. Like I said, we have a Pro account, so I'm going to be using that. So I'm going to start here with my first slide. And there's a lot of stuff here. There's some elements like we don't need on this. And I'm just going to start off by getting rid of them. So I'm just going to delete that. It's really just a simple question of clicking on it and deleting. So instead of here, it's where it says 5 key financial tips for a stable future. We're going to change it to the text we want, which is operation skyhook. And let's say I want this to go straight across. I don't want it on 2 lines. I can just change the size of the text box it's in until it accommodates the text I want. Okay. So another thing I want to point out here before we move on is not here. Okay, so let's move on to our next slide. And as you can see here, we have an animation already here on this slide. So right now it's just the blue background. But if we were to say apply a slide, we could see here, oops, it's page animation. Not going to show it to me. Okay, I'm actually going to take that out. So it defaults to an animation for elements you're putting on the page. I tend to be a person who doesn't like them. So if I didn't want those, I could take that and just say none. So now there's no page animations. And if I wanted to put animations on, I would have to apply it to each element on its own. So now I'm going to put in what I want on this page. Yes, Maria, what's your question?
What exactly is animation? Is it like a video of sorts?
Animation is when, like, if you have text or pictures, they go, you know what? I will be explaining as I go along what an animation is. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Sure. It'll be easier if I just go show you. Okay. So, what I was just going to say, I'm just saying, I turned it off now, but we'll be adding them on a little bit later. So what I want to do here is I first want to add some pictures. And again, these are pictures I've already uploaded. So I'm going to put this one here, and I'm going to put this one next to it. Now, right now they're too big. So I'm going to do a little work to resize them. I want to keep them lined up. Notice again, I'm getting that purple line that's helping me. And yeah, that doesn't look. Yep. So now they're both, I've got my pictures on my slide. And now I want to add some text. And again, here I'm going to go with the add a heading. And let's see. I'm not a huge fan of this font, so I'm going to change it to something else. So you can also search in fonts, but I've always found searching in fonts kind of not, it doesn't work terribly well because the name of a font and what it actually looks like are often sometimes not very well coordinated, I would say. Fonts, people who name fonts and people who name paint colors are working on very similar prospects. So yeah, so I'm going to be using a font here. I'm going to use the Montserrat font for this. And so why that's Montserrat, I don't know, but that's the font. So we're going to go here. Oops. Still in the search box. I will note that if you do the search, they do have some groupings here you can look at. So you could look at headings and it will give you fonts that might match that. But again, I always say font searching is kind of hit or miss. So basically, you really just sort of have to look until you find something you want. I'm going to pull these down actually a little bit. Give myself a little more room to work. All right, then I'm going to add a subheading. I don't want it down there. I want to put it up here. Bring that down until it sits on one line. Then I'm going to add another subheading. Here. Change that text. I think I adjusted the size. So yeah, so it's hard to see here. This is 50 point text and this is 52. So I would want to take this one down to match, to make that 50 as well. Okay, so now we have these items on our slide. Let's say we did now want to add animations to them. So let's say I want to animate how this picture comes up on the slide. I would then click on it and I would go to animate up here. And then you'll see here, there's these different options here you can use to animate. And they're just different ways. As I move my mouse pointer over them, you can see sort of, they're going a little too fast. Let's use this one, tumble. And I'm going to use that one and that one again. So now I'm adding 2 animations to the slide. So the difference is basically when you're doing this, and if you don't change, if you have the animation that's applied to the entire slide, it'll apply to every single element on the slide. This way it would only be for these 2 elements would have the animation to it. So you wouldn't see it for the whole slide. Okay, our next slide, I'm going to go back up here, templates. It's going to involve a chart. So let me find a slide that includes a chart here. Let's use this one. And again, we're just going to do a little work to get rid of the elements we do not need. Oops, I do need that one. Let me get rid of this one. And then we have our chart here. So we're going to now redo our chart. We're going to clear the data from it. And we're not going to do a line chart. We're going to do a bar chart. And now we need to put in the information we want to go into our chart. Oops. Okay, so now we're seeing we have these two bars next to each other in our chart. Let's make a few more settings. Okay, so you could change the colors up here that you're using. Let's say I want this to be that color. I feel like I'm missing a label. I'm not sure how to get that up. All right, well, once you have the chart set, I think I might have to reverse this. Hold on. I think I did this wrong. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, I did it backwards. But I think I don't have to do that. I think I can just, if I do the plot roses series, yep, there we go. Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted. So now, so I switched it from doing the columns to having the rows there. So now we have the chart as I want it to be. I can then add the rest of the text I want on my slide, which is I cannot type today. Okay, yeah, so there we have now our chart slide done. We're just going to add another slide to our presentation. So this one, look at the templates. Ooh. So one of the things I think you can do is you can actually mix and match and bring in slides settings from a different template if you really wanted to. Actually don't want to do that. Where did mine go? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. This is the one we're working at. Or maybe it's not, I don't know. No, that's the one we're working at. Okay. So let's see which slide. All right. This works for our next slide. Is this kind of presentation. So I want to replace the picture with this one. We're then just going to delete again a few elements. I'm going to change this to and I'm going to actually oops. Rid of that elements. And then add a little more text in here. I didn't change that font. I'm going to change that font also to Montserrat. So if you are using a template and you do go outside the template to change things like fonts, you would have to do it consistently throughout the presentation. You can't just do it once and have it stay that way. So better remember to change that. Oops. Okay. Okay, so now we have text on this slide done. We have two more slides to add to our presentation. And on this one, I'm just going to start with a blank slide because none of these templates is really going to get me what I want for this slide. So I'm going to just do it from scratch. So I'm going to go here to uploads. I have 3 pictures I want to put on the slide. Not that one. Yeah, no, not that one. This one. And also this one. Okay, so now I need to resize and reposition these pictures so they're where I want them to be. This picture, I also think I'm going to actually crop that. So I can do that right from in here. If I have the picture selected, I can go here to crop and I can just adjust it that way. So I could change it to whatever size I am and what I want. And when I'm done, I can just click on done. And now my picture is the size I want it to be. I'm just getting these lined up like I want them to be. Okay. There we go. All right, so now I have my 3 pictures I want in place. And now I want to add some text. Add a heading. Remember to change the font before I start this time. There we go. Oh, I'm going to actually use the extra bold here version. I'm going to bring that up to the top. And I call this a tack. And let's see if we can add a little bit of an effect to this. Let's see. There we go. That's a little bit more visible. So yeah, so I'm adding some effects to the font. I'm actually going to make this bigger. Notice here, I will point out that the font size will scale based on how big the text box is. So you can adjust the font size both by using the numbers up here, but you can also do it by adjusting the size of the text box included. How does this one look? Yeah, I like that one better. So I'm just going to leave that particular effect up there. And I'm going to add some subheadings. We'll take that regular months out of that. Come on. That is getting a little too small. Okay. That's interesting. There we go. Okay. And let's say I want to make sure I get these to match. You gonna let me do this? Yeah, there you go. So I just copied and pasted that font, that box, but I can't do that using the copy and paste commands. Sometimes the browsers don't like that. So I use the Control-C to copy and Control-V to paste. Control-V to paste. I'm going to do that again here. No, it doesn't want to do that. There we go. Okay. Sometimes these things can be a little tricky. They don't want to respond right away. And Proton. Okay. So that would be this slide. We got everything we else want on it. So we're going to go and we're going to put one more slide in this presentation. There, it's going to be a blank slide. I'm going to actually see how this looks. I'm going to try to do this as a background. I think it's going to not work. Yeah, no, that's too big. So I'm going to pull this element out here. And then I'm going to add my last piece of text. Use the semi-bold here. And and put that up smaller. So yeah, so I got that in there. Let's see, can I? That's not what I want. Animate, yeah, let's do. So you have interesting here, you have different kinds of animations for a picture versus the text. So you can do some different things with the text. I kind of like this. So we're going to use that burst there. Oops. Oh, wait, no, I like this one better, escape. We'll go with that one. So that's doing the text animations. That's a little bit different than the picture animations that we did earlier on. Okay, so before we go into the present part, does anyone have any questions about this? Okay, so now we go into the present. And there's a couple different things you can do. Standard, autoplay. If you had a set speed automatic, you could do that, or you can do a presenter view. That would be if you're using a separate screen. I am not right now, so I'm just going to do the standard present. Oops, was at the bend. I'm gonna go back to the beginning. All the way to the beginning. Thank you. There we are. So now we're on our first screen. To advance, you would just click with your mouse and we go on to the next one. And next one. And again, you would just advance through your presentation. And I think Canva gives you some like options that you don't get in PowerPoint. And I think if you start looking at the templates, you'll find they have some really nice ones there. And it generally looks a lot nicer than what you can get with PowerPoint. Even if you don't do any real customization and you just change out the pictures and the text as you need it, you can get a pretty nice looking presentation. Okay, so that was just some of the basics of what you can do with Canva. There's a lot of other stuff in there you can dig around and try. And like I said, you can sign up for it for free, and there's plenty of free content there that you can use. So Maria, do you have any questions?
It's actually cute the way you just did it. But just like in PowerPoint, if I were to use this, let's say in an office setup and stuff, can I pause in between those pages, or it comes out like a video of sorts?
No, you advance. The way I was doing it is you advance, it doesn't go to the next slide till you mouse click. So I had to click on the mouse to go to each new slide. So, yeah, that's how that advance works. So yeah, I was controlling that. It wasn't going automatically.
Okay, it's cute.
Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to be off for the next few weeks. I will not be having any classes until probably the middle of September at the earliest. I do want to ask, I asked at the beginning, but does anyone have any requests for class content you'd like to see? Yeah, Maria, what do you have any requests?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, I've asked you this before. Now I'm forgetting. Hold on. I've asked you about. I'm sorry, I'm blanking out right now.
Oh, okay.
The the feature in Excel. Oh, pivot tables.
Oh, pivot tables, yes.
Yes.
Um, So
I
I
know.
have, yeah,
I'm
so I
sorry.
have a pivot table class I've done in the past. What I am still not entirely sure if I can do that in this format.
Hmm.
I will take another look at and see if I can figure it out. I was truly hoping we'd be back in person by now, but that's not going to be the case. So now that I have some time, maybe I can figure out how I can make it work. But I will try to see if I can get the pivot tables thing to work.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, maybe you can just give a nudge on the person who's responsible to post all your classes.
On the videos.
Yeah, so that maybe it can be part of the weekly mailings from the Parsippany Library to say, hey, we updated our YouTube channel or whatever, just to watch there instead of like for a refresher.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'll ask the newsletter person if she can include some links to the videos too.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Well, have a good vacation.
thank you. And hopefully I'll see you when we get back.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all for coming today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.